Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this week's edition of the Let's Talk Thursdays podcast. My name is Brendan Plays. We have a pretty big show for you guys today. We've got a lot of things to talk about. Obviously, this is the post-Elimination Chamber show, so we're going to discuss the pay-per-view. We'll run down all the new championship changes that's happened. Well, this week we've had a number of title changes, not just at the Chamber, but on Raw as well. So lots of different things to chat about and a few little news tidbits as well. But I want to start today's show off with the gaming side of things. And we'll talk about some of the different games that I bought over the last week or so. But yeah, so it should be a pretty good show for you guys this week. So lots of things to get into. Now, the reason why I'm going to start with the gaming things because I feel like I haven't talked about gaming enough on the podcast. You know, when I was going to start the podcast, I was envisioning that I would talk majority about wrestling. It was always going to be a wrestling podcast, but I would sprinkle in a little bit more gaming and sport and things like that as well. But I don't think I've done enough sprinkling. I need to put a bit more gaming chat into it, because sometimes I kind of get around to the gaming chat and we're out of time. So this week I want to talk about some gaming because I bought 4 new games that's just come out, and I want to kind of give my thoughts and my reviews on it, because I know all of you guys are gamers as well. I know you guys love playing your games, and most of you guys probably only play maybe WWE 2K17 or something like that, or more casual gamers. So I just figured I might recommend a few games to you and kind of give my little thoughts and reviews on some of those games. So the games that I bought this week, well, my friend bought some of them for me too, but I got the new Resident Evil 7, which I have finished. I got Sniper Elite 4, For Honor, which if you watch my the video I did the other day with Pick My Next Game series, I put some gameplay of that on that video. And I don't know how to say this. I forget how to say the name of this game. Is it Neo or Nio or something like that? It won't really matter because I haven't played that game yet. So that one we can kind of just talk about another time, because I did start it up and I was going to play it. I know it's been given great reviews. It's a lot like Dark Souls, but I decided I'll play the other ones first. So that one's one of those I haven't quite gotten to yet. But I also actually played a classic PS3 game. It's a game that I completely missed, and it's a game that you probably think, well, it's probably shit, but it was actually really fun. Now, I don't know about you guys, but I don't care about graphics on a game. I recently went back and finished Far Cry Classic, the Far Cry 1, and that was I think from 2004, and the graphics didn't bother me at all. So, I'm not a graphics guy. Obviously, if the game looks amazing and beautiful, it's fantastic, I love it. But if its graphics are shitty, I can still play it. It doesn't really bother me too much. It's more like the gameplay and the storyline and blah, 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 blah. So, I also recently have become a fan of the Godfather movie series. Godfather 1 and 2, the only movies I've seen. I still need to make time to watch Godfather 3, because if you're going to watch Godfather, you need to put it in your schedule, put it on your calendar. You need to plan it out. You need to plan your whole week around it, because it goes for that freaking long. So I haven't watched the third one yet, but I watched 1 and 2. So I found out there's a Godfather game, and I was a little skeptical. I'm like, well, movie games, they're normally shitty. But I read the reviews, and it's pretty positive. Most of the reviews are really good. So yesterday I tried this game. I bought it maybe a month ago after I watched Godfather 2. I was super into the movies, and I was like, yep, I want to get the game. So I got the game, and I haven't really gotten around to playing it yet. But I'll talk about it in a moment, but I've got a bit of a new setup going in my house. We'll talk more about it in a moment. But I played Godfather 2, the game. I didn't get Godfather 1 because I'm a trophy hunter. Godfather 1 doesn't have any trophies, and I love to get the trophies. It's one of my favorite things to do on the PlayStation. So I didn't get the first Godfather. But I got the second one, and honestly, it's actually really, really good. I'm not even kidding. It's a cheap game that you could pick up for maybe $5, $10. And if you got the PS3, it's old. It's 8 years old. But basically, in the game, it's featuring most of the characters from the movies too. So if you love the movie, you'll probably enjoy the game more than, if you don't. But basically, you have to take control of businesses. You have to go and, attack businesses, take them over, and then defend them from other gangs trying to take it from you. And you earn money to upgrade your characters and everything like that. So I'm played maybe 2-3 hours of it so far. I'm really, really enjoying it. So that's super fun. And it's really cool that sometimes you miss a really good game. Like to be honest, I've probably played most of the good PS3 games. I've owned most of them. I'm a bit of a game hoarder. I buy every freaking game that comes out, or my friend buys them for me. We share that. But we basically own every game that's coming out. Like this week, I bought a new external hard drive for my PS4. So if you're not quite aware, there's a new update on the PlayStation where if you have an external hard drive, you can plug that into your PS4 and it can act as extra storage for your PlayStation. Now, it's not available to everyone yet, only if you got accepted in the beta program, but it will be available to everyone very soon. So I was accepted in the beta program, and I bought a 4TB hard drive to put in my PS4 because I originally have a 2TB internal hard drive in my PS4 already. I have already replaced it. So all of those who are saying, oh, why don't you just replace the 500 gig? Trust me, I did. I put 2TB in there, and I thought it'd be sweet. But turns out I'm deleting games constantly trying to fit them on my PS4. It's disastrous. I bought a new 4TB external hard drive, put it in, and now I've got so much space. I've got every single game that I own on my PS4, and I've got so much space. It's amazing. It's truly the greatest thing to have all this space and just be able to play all your game. You want to have a game in your PS4, you can just click on it and not have to worry about I have to delete games just to download the patches for games. It's so annoying because patches are so big these days. They could be as much as a game. I remember I put The Elder Scrolls Online, which is a game I only really played a couple times. I haven't played it very much. And a big reason for it is because the patches are 40 gigs. So I'm constantly patching this freaking game all the time, and it's taking up so much damn space, I can't actually play it. By the time I get around to playing it, there's a new patch. I remember this. I played it, and I was playing it for a couple days, and it was a 25 gig patch. It took me all day to download because my internet was really shitty at the time. It took me all day to download, and then I think the next day they released another 20 gig patch, and I just said, fuck it, I'm done. I'm done. I can't do this. It was ridiculous. So now I can have all my games updating all the time and just be good. So that's an update that you guys need to keep an eye out for. If you're someone like me and own a lot of games, you need to get that. But anyways, so that's amazing. But Godfather game was really cool. For Honor, I played probably more than the other couple games I bought, except for Resident Evil. But For Honor is basically an online game. You guys can look up the trailers and things for these games. It basically is online. You get a sword and shield, and you're attacking people in a PvP multiplayer aspect. Bit of a campaign to it, not very long, as from what I've been told. I haven't played it yet, but it's pretty good. I mean, this is basically what you'd expect. Like, that's the thing. Like, when you think of an online, you got a sword, you got a blade, and you got a shield, and you're just trying to defend yourself, and you're attacking the enemies, and you're having sword fights or whatever. It's basically what you expect, but it's really cool. I think, when you get a really good fight going on, I'm explaining it really badly, but, when you get a real struggle, it's really cool. I probably thing I hate about it is when you get, like, a team of guys who just group up together and you get triple teamed or double teamed. There's really not a lot you can really do to survive when that happens to you, but I guess that's teamwork. That's good teamwork, but, so that's a game I've played a fair bit of, and I would say it's probably one that I would recommend that you wait for a price drop. I don't think it's worth a full price. I was on the fence about buying it myself. My friend ended up buying it for me because he loved the beta. But I was on the fence about it. I didn't know if I was going to get it or not. I thought it was going to have a long campaign. It didn't have a long campaign, so without a long campaign, I was very skeptical. So yeah, I probably would wait for maybe half price I would pay for that one. Sniper Elite 4, I haven't played a hell of a lot of it because I only just really got it. But I played Sniper Elite 3, and I enjoyed it, but I didn't play. I did not end up finishing it. I didn't end up playing a lot of it. But the thing about Sniper Elite is the campaign is the money. That's where you're going to get the most fun out of it. And Sniper Elite 4, what they've done the best is that they've created a lot of different ways you can go about each mission. Normally, you have to kind of just do a straightforward, shoot the guys, go to the next area. But now there's more creative ways in that you can kill your enemies and go through each stage of each mission. So you can really tackle the game whichever way you want. You could be very super stealthy. You can. I think there's even a feature where like there's a big loud missile going off, and you can time your shots within that missile so you stay hidden. So these really cool little features are really, really cool. Now, personally, me, I am not a stealth guy. I just like to fucking line up my sniper and shoot everyone as quickly as I can and just kill everyone. I don't care if they see me. I just want to kill them. So I'm not, for me personally, it's not those features are something that I should be doing, but I've really failed to do it, which is why I haven't had a lot of success in beating the missions yet. I was trying to do it on the hardest difficulty yesterday, and yeah, it did not go well. But I got the DLC for it too, which is always really fun. So I would recommend getting the DLC if you're going to buy the game as well. Even though the DLC is probably a little pricey, but it's it's not too bad. But I would recommend that. But the online is like an extension of it. You think of online shooters like Call of Duty, Battlefield, etc. You think of them and go, that's the money. That's where you want to be playing and spending all your time. The campaign is the extra bonus. Well, it's the other way around for this game. The online is an extra bonus because the online is really slow. It's basically a snipe off. Hide and snipe. And I streamed it the other day, and I've had some matches where it's actually been really, really fun. And I was running around, and I was able to find people, sneaking up on guys. I found a guy hiding in the bush, stabbed him and whatever. Some cool moments, definitely. But the money is where the campaign is. And finally, Resident Evil 7. Now, you would have seen a lot of people probably playing this game. It's been quite popular. It's fantastic. I really, really love this game. I have not been a fan of Resident Evil very much. Resident Evil 5 and 6 are the only other Resident Evils I've really played. Apart from some of their other ones, I think, what was that, Revelations or something like that? I played that. So, I've been a little bit hit and miss with Resident Evil. I enjoy the co-op aspect of 5 and 6. Playing it with my friend was quite fun. We enjoyed it. But it still wasn't amazing. Like, I still would never really recommend the games to anyone. But Resident Evil 7, I would recommend to everyone because I do not like the horror genre. I find horror is predictable. It's played out. I don't really get scared from it. It doesn't really bother me. But this was one of those games where the music in the game, they created so much tension, so much nerves. The enemies you're coming up against, the situation you put in was so simple but so effective and so well done that it actually at times I was like really, really nervous, like, oh shit, I don't really want to go through this door because I know what's going to happen and I don't want this to happen, but it's going to happen, so shit. But just sometimes, like in this game, was just so fantastic. The first few hours of the game, especially, are really amazing. It does fall off a little bit at the end, and some people kind of criticize it that it was getting too easy at the end. But I think of it this way: when you first start, here's the game. When you first start, you come in and you're not used to shooting a gun. You're not used to killing these enemies. You don't know what's out there. But as the game progresses, you learn what the enemies are, you learn how to kill the enemies, and you learn how to beat them easier, and you also find better weapons. So realistically, it makes sense that the game gets easier as you go, because you're getting better as the game progresses. So I think that's the right way to go. It should be really tough when you start, and then when you start to learn the game, then you start to get better, and things get easier. So, the only real other thing was the final boss. Spoiler alert. The final boss was pretty easy, and that was the only other downfall. But the other bosses in the game were really, really tough to deal with. So, highly recommend. I'd probably give it about an 8.5 out of 10. I think the game was just a little too short, and there's no multiplayer aspects of it at all. I think I finished it in about 8 hours. And I was left wanting to play more, and I know there's some DLC packs, but the DLC is really pricey, and there's 2 DLC packs out already, which is really lame. Like, it's great to have DLC, but why is this not included in the game. And I understand day one DLC and all that shit, but it's frustrating that there's some extra content that we'd have to pay. I think I have to pay $37 to get both of those DLCs. And that's something I just don't want to do. Like, I would wait. I know there's a free DLC coming out, so I might just wait to play that one. But I definitely recommend it. It's, you might get 10 hours out of it depending on your play style and how you go about it. And you can also play it again. There's multiple endings to the game, so you can play it again. So you could get 15 hours out of the game. So once again, if you're someone who's a little, haven't got a lot of money to spend, you might want to wait for a price drop. But it's definitely a game that I highly recommend to play. And if you're scared, if you're someone who's easily scared of horror games, this is pretty damn scary. I'm not someone who gets scared very well, so I think most people will get pretty scared. So that's my gaming wrap. I wanted to cover that this week. So definitely check out some of those games. I will try and get a few more games that are coming out. I think Horizon New something like that. It's New Dawn or something. I don't know. That's coming out. I might get that. We'll see. But I'm actually quite impressed that there's been so many good games coming out already at this time of the year, because February, March, April generally does bring a couple good games, but there's been like 3 or 4 really solid games already. Normally January doesn't bring any good games at all. So having Resident Evil there was good. But I think it's also smart. Don't try and force a release. If Resident Evil had to come out in November or October, when most games do come out, I don't know if I'd have time. I probably wouldn't have finished it right now. I probably wouldn't have played it yet, because there's so many other games that would have came out that I just didn't have the time. But now that it's come out in January, I've played quite a lot of the games that I bought back then, and I finished a number of them. So now I'm kind of ready for a newer game, and this is something completely different to all my other games, so why not? It was a perfect release window. And I think a lot of developers need to kind of look at that again, because I definitely believe that there's a period of time during the year where there's a lull and there's no games coming out, and specifically March, June, July, and August are probably the worst time of the year with games. And I think that's because in America it's the summertime, so I'm guessing they believe that no one's playing games during the summer, or they don't want to play games during summer, which I would think more than likely everyone's playing more games because they've got time off, they're not at school, so they can play games and do whatever the fuck they want. So I think that's a mistake. So I think developers probably should be looking at maybe releasing a game there, because everyone seems to cram it in towards October, November, December. And I get why, it's Christmas time, but there can obviously be so many games that come out. Look at that time period. We saw Call of Duty, Titanfall, and Battlefield all drop at that same period. And that's 3 first-person shooters within a month of each other. And realistically, you might pick one of those games. And that means those other 2 games could potentially miss out. When Titanfall could have released in March, maybe Battlefield in September, let Call of Duty go in November, something like that. And they would give a bit of breathing room, and everyone, if they want to pick up these extra games, would be able to get the money to be able to do so. So Titanfall did used to do a March release. I think the first game might have come out about then. So I don't know why they tried to push an October release, especially with Battlefield there as well. 2 EA games at the same time was just ludicrous. I don't know why. I guess they felt as though if people were going to buy Infinite Warfare, their competition would have been Titanfall and not Battlefield. But I really think Battlefield was just as much of a competition as Titanfall. But anyways, so just a bit of advice to the Zero developers listening into the show. Just have a think about these other extra months, because right now, with all these different games coming out, I'm definitely very interested, and I'm looking for other games to play. And I know I got money for Christmas. I got some gift cards that I haven't used yet, so yeah, it might be a thought. All right, so that was pretty much the gaming chat. Also, wanted to talk about streaming. I am on the fence about whether or not I want to keep streaming again. Now, big reason why I don't stream at the moment is because the time zone difference is just killing me. Like, if I'm going to stream, I have to stay up all night or get up super, super early, like 7 a.m. to stream. And look, I'm not a morning person. Getting up early is just never going to happen. Never, never, never going to happen. But I really do enjoy streaming. And I would love to stream at like 7 p.m. my time and just stream to like midnight or whatever. Just, do that. But I understand that most of you guys are asleep or going to school or whatever during those times. And I did a stream yesterday, I believe, or the other day. And it went pretty good. I enjoyed it. We didn't have a hell of a lot of viewers, but we had a nice little, amount of viewers. And it was a nice interactive stream. So that kind of brought the fun factor back to me and kind of made me realize, hey, this is pretty good. And I was playing whatever games that I wanted to play. It went really, really well. So I think everything went pretty good. So I'm just kind of thinking, it might be worth giving it another try and then just trying to stream on my schedule and maybe even trying to build a new audience of people that are watching at that time, or maybe trying to get some Australians to watch, or people who are awake around that time. I don't know, man. I want to try it out. I want to see how I go. I want to be able to stream, but I can't stream at the American schedule. I just can't do it, unfortunately. I've tried it. I just can't. So keep an eye out for that. We might try and stream a little bit more again. I don't know what schedule or what I'm going to do, but I should try and do something, because normally between 8 p.m. and about midnight, that's normally my window where I'm playing my games, and then after that, midnight till about 2 a.m. is when I make my videos. I don't know why. I just leave it to the last hours of the day to make my videos, but it's ridiculous. But I do that. So, yeah, there's no reason why I couldn't, flick the camera on and stream whilst I'm playing the games that I'm already going to be playing. So, alright, so let's move on to some wrestling chat. Wow, we went 20 minutes to begin this first show, so I don't care. If you guys know that I'm a gamer, so if you're frustrated that I'm talking about gaming, well, fuck. You guys, you come to watch my channel majority to watch me play games, so of course I want to comment on my gaming. Alright, Elimination Chamber. I thought pay-per-view was okay. Really, the only match I wanted to see was the Elimination Chamber match itself. I thought Randy Orton and Luke Harper was a really good match. I really, really enjoyed that one. But most of the other matches you could give a miss to. I mean, I didn't watch the pre-show match because why would I? And Mickie James and Becky Lynch, that was okay. Not bad. I thought Mickie James would have got the win, but she didn't. So I'm guessing Mickie James is just officially back to be that veteran role to put the young talent over and just to work with him, give them an opponent to work with and just, lose to them. And that's fine. I thought maybe they would have given her a bit of momentum, a few wins just to establish her first, then put her into that role. But I'm guessing straight off the bat, just getting some losses. Which, I guess they don't really have many women they want to have lose to Mickie James. I guess I can understand why Becky Lynch would beat her, but I guess, they need some lower women for Mickie James to beat, but they don't really have that, do they, on SmackDown? I mean, you think of all the women that they're using, most of them are positioned pretty well. I think there's, 6-7 women on SmackDown. All of them are doing pretty good. So, yeah, they might need to just bring in some local talent or something like that, just to have Mickie James beat a few people just to, have people see that she can actually win a match. One little issue that I had with this pay-per-view was the Apollo Crews, Kalisto, and Ziggler match. And my problem was that Apollo Crews, when, Kalisto gets beaten up by Ziggler comes to take on Crews one-on-one. Apollo Crews, I like Apollo Crews. I think, he's a great athlete. Very exciting, very enjoyable to watch in the ring, but his character is just bland and awful. And he just doesn't really get it. He just showed no emotion in this match. None. And it frustrated me because his friend, Kalisto, got beaten up. Ziggler beat the shit out of him. And for me, a natural reaction as a person would have been like, when Ziggler gets in the ring and I'm punching him and I'm beating him down, like, you piece of shit, you beat up my friend, I'm going to kick your ass. This is what you get for, beating my friend and blah, 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 blah. I'm going to be talking to him and talking, well, not talking shit, but just showing emotion, getting angry and really being aggressive towards Ziggler, but he's just doing none of that. And it's not just Apollo Crews, it's a lot of the case. In the Bayley and Charlotte match on Raw, we saw an example of, I think Bayley might have said, "Oh, I'll never tap," when she was in a submission. I'm never going to tap out. You'll never beat me. I'll never tap out. Things like that. That's fantastic. And that's what I want to see more of. So just these little subtle touches are some of the things that just, I think some wrestlers could really work on, because, you can overdo it, like Natalya and her match. I think she overdid it a little bit too much. But I would like to see some more of it. And some wrestlers definitely do it. But others not so much. And I think Apollo Crews in that instance should have shown something. He should have been quite aggressive and yelling out something to Ziggler to do something. Maybe he's too scared to say anything. Maybe he doesn't want to, get in trouble. Maybe that's maybe these wrestlers are just so frightened to do anything because they don't want to get fired. That he's not willing to do anything like that. But I don't know. Who knows? The other question I have is Ziggler losing too much? He's lost to Crews and Kalisto a lot now. Is he losing too much? I get it. He's beating the shit out of him after the matches. So are we concentrating on what happens after the match or during the match? I think more so after the match. I think at the end of it, you look at Ziggler and you still, see him well above those two guys. And, they beat him, whatever. It's fine. And, he gets his revenge at the end of the day. So I don't think it's that much of a big deal at all. And, I think it's, I think he's doing fine. I don't think, he's lost a few matches, but that's the whole storyline. That's his whole gimmick right now. He's a frustrated guy who just can't get the wins. So if you think about it, it makes sense that he's losing. And if he was just starting to get wins all of a sudden, then, well, why is he pissed off? Naomi, new women's champion. I was surprised. I didn't watch the match because I had a phone call and I missed all of it. I didn't really bother to go back and watch it. I didn't hear... Well, I heard some people say it was good. I didn't hear... I heard mixed reactions, so I didn't really feel the need. But, I'm a little surprised that Alexa Bliss dropped the championship. And this is the thing with me as well. Why are the title changes now? We're going to get into this when Bayley discussion comes up. But why are the title changes now? Why aren't we saving these big moments for WrestleMania? I get it, but... I get they want to switch things up, whatever, but I just feel like, when you win the championship for the first time, it's got to be on a big pay-per-view. Winning it on Elimination Chamber or winning it on, I don't know, Payback or Hell in a Cell or what. I feel like that sucks. I would hate that if I was a wrestler. Like, I would want to win it at a SummerSlam or a Royal Rumble or a WrestleMania. I want to win it at a big occasion. And it's the thing with Bray Wyatt. He's now won the championship as well, and it's like, well, should he have won? Should they have done the reverse? Randy Orton wins the championship at Elimination Chamber. He's already been champion. That's fair enough. Whatever. Bray Wyatt wins the Royal Rumble, then Bray Wyatt gets the big win at WrestleMania to put him over big time. Big win on the grand stage. I feel like that would have been far more beneficial to Bray Wyatt, but instead. He's won an Elimination Chamber and probably he's going to lose it at WrestleMania instead, and it's just not really going to do Bray Wyatt much justice, is it? But, I don't know. I just feel like winning it on the grand stage would be better. The Elimination Chamber match itself, I like the new design. The padding, I know some people are like, well, it's great, so now they can do all these new spots and whatever. But you think about it this way. A casual viewer... WWE hypes it up as the most destructive and dangerous fucking environment ever, and then someone like, let's say someone like Joe, who's never watched a bloody wrestling match in 5 years, and he comes to watch the Elimination Chamber, remembering that it was pretty cool back in the day, and he sees this padding, and he's like, well, what the fuck is this? This is ridiculous. You got to think of it that way. I get it. Us wrestling fans, like, oh, they can do a cool high spot off the top of the cell now. This is awesome. But, when they hype it up as the most destructive thing and it's got padding and it doesn't showcase that at all, it just makes it look like a joke. And I don't like it. I think, the steel that they had on the floor anyways, I don't think that would have hurt that much. Maybe if you fell off the top onto it, sure. But I don't think it was a type of steel that's really going to hurt your body that much. It'd have a lot of give to it anyways. So it wasn't that I mean, it wasn't that bad. I don't know. I've never taken a bump on it. I could be very, very wrong. But it just, for me, as a casual, as from the casual eye looking away, it didn't look that devastating. And even the chains, the chains don't even look like they could hurt. Or, if you had your face wrenched across it, just, you couldn't even picture that could hurt. So I just feel like everything in the chamber doesn't really hurt. The only real big moment for me is when Baron Corbin put Ambrose through the pod. I thought that was cool. But, even like scaling the cage and falling onto the padding, I just feel like it's like, yeah, that's okay. I mean, it doesn't feel like it's that big of a deal. So, once again, I'm a little disappointed. I like the look of the chamber. I think that looks fine. And especially when they have the bird's eye view when they're trying to, who's going to come into the chamber next. I think that looks great with the W on the top and the lighting there. I think that looks really, really cool. That looks fantastic. So visually the chamber looks good, but inside the chamber, I'm just not that fussed. Not that fussed. I'm just a little disappointed. I get it. We can do some more high spots. Fantastic. But, when you're hyping it up as such a brutal... I am one of those people that I like seeing blood. I like seeing, the old school Hell in a Cell matches where guys just look like they're getting the shit beat out of them. They're going through a bloodied war. I like that. That's... I don't like the CZW death matches or whatever, but like a Hell in a Cell, they get a bit of color, and they throw each other into the cell, hit each other with chairs and whatever. I like that. It just feels and looks like a really devastating and physical match. It was like the Lesnar and Undertaker match in Hell in a Cell a couple of years ago, whatever it was. That to me was fantastic because it was a bit of a throwback match, to the old school Hell in a Cell days. So I really, really loved it. So that's just me. I just like that. All right, we'll move on to Monday Night Raw, and Emelina. Emelina is back, made her debut, and she came out for about a minute and said, well, now you have to wait for the re-debut of Emma. So they're going to drop the Emelina gimmick, something they built up for 17 weeks, and they're going to drop that and have her come back as the real Emma. Or are we going to see more vignettes now of waiting to see Emma actually debut properly again? I don't know. It just feels like a whole fucking waste of time. I think that halfway through these vignettes, they realize that this is not going to work. I think when they first came up with the idea, they thought this is going to be great. This is going to work. And then halfway through, I think they probably said to themselves, you know what, this ain't going to work. And they panicked and they, cut the vignettes out. They stopped her debut and they didn't know what else to do. They didn't want to drop it completely. They still felt as though that she had to debut. So, this is what we got. So I don't know. I guess maybe she'll come back out as something different. How long will that take for her to come out? She might be back next, tomorrow, or so next week, I should say, or not. I don't know. Samoa Joe's little interview that he had with Michael Cole I thought was fantastic and continuing to build on something they've already started so well with his character. He looks like a mean son of a bitch. He's acting like it. He looks like a badass, and it's great. It's good to have that heel guy who just wants to fight. If you want to fight him, he'll come out and beat the shit out of you. Beat the shit out of Sami Zayn. These are the things that I want to see more of in a heel. Not the cowering and runaway weasel heel that we see pretty much every second heel do. Seth Rollins did for a whole year. It just made him look like a joke. Kevin Owens has been doing it, for 6 months, ever since he won the championship. Now he's finally looking like, he can beat the shit out of you again, which is what he should have been doing the whole time. So, I don't know, man. It's just, I'm sick of the weasels, and I want to see more badass, and that's what we're getting so far with Samoa Joe, and that's, to me, big thumbs up. Alright, the Jericho and Owens segment. I couldn't praise this more if I tried. I feel like this, obviously a bit of a play off the This Is Your Life, Mick Foley and The Rock segment. I think, every wrestling fan can, connect the two. But I feel like this was just, wrestling segments at its finest. Like a perfect turning segment, a perfect... it just was perfect. I just loved it. Everything about it was fantastic. You know, it was goofy. It was over the top from Jericho. It was silly. And you could see that Owens, you know, when he first came out, didn't seem that interested. He was, like, trying to play along. And eventually, you know, he had enough. And he, you know, did the turn. But, you know, we even saw Gilbert come out, which was fun. And that was okay. And Kevin Owens beat the shit out of him. I didn't expect that to happen. But he did. And then the way that they did it. Giving Jericho the list. Why is my name on it? And then he holds it up. And it's the list of KO. It's perfect. Brilliant. Whoever wrote that or whoever came up with that idea, give him a raise. Or if that was Jericho and Owens who came up with that idea, well, you know, no surprise. But that was absolutely perfect. That little moment there, everyone just, I think their hearts sank because Jericho, you know, cut this, I would say, a shoot promo saying that this has been one of the best times of his career. He's loved working with Owens. He's, you know, loves him like a brother, blah, 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 blah. You know, so Jericho set it up so well and then just crush everyone's hearts. I did not expect the turn to come. I thought, Owens will just maybe walk out and say, this is stupid. I'm sick of this. All right. You know, I actually thought when he gave him a new list, I thought, okay, he's going to give him a new list. What's it going to look like? And I saw the KO. I'm like, oh, shit. Okay. Oh, no. So I didn't see it coming. Most people probably didn't see it coming. Maybe halfway through the segment, you thought, maybe there's a chance. But amazing. Just amazing. Absolutely amazing. And I couldn't praise it more if I wanted to. It was just terrific. Loved every bit of it. And now, you know, I know people are kind of like, well, I really don't want to see Kevin Owens and Jericho break up. But I think it has to happen. Jericho is going to be gone perhaps until next year's Royal Rumble. Or perhaps even longer. He might be back for next year's WrestleMania if he does come back. So you have to remember that's a long time. He's going to be out for a year. He's going to release a new album for Fozzy and then go on tour for that album. And touring, you know, generally bands will go on tour for like 6 months sometimes. So he's going to be gone for a long time. He's going to do some acting gigs as well, I believe. So he's got some other projects he's going to do. So he's going to be gone, and I guess if you want to get something out of this, it'd be an absolute waste. You build this up for, 8 months between Jericho and Owens, only for Jericho just to say, all right, I'm going on tour. Good luck, Kevin. Hope you do well whilst I'm gone. What a joke that would be. You have to do the turn. You have to have these guys feud, have the WrestleMania match, have Owens beat the shit out of Jericho, put Owens over, make him, a mean son of a bitch, piece of shit that everyone hates him for what he did to Jericho. And most people, I think, do hate him for what he did to Jericho. I think people, will be negative towards him. I think maybe he might even get a boo next week. It's possible. I don't know. So I think you have to do this. And I get it. We love seeing Jericho and Owens together, but we've seen it for a long time now. And if Jericho's going to leave, you want to leave giving Owens something from this whole situation. You don't want to just leave and have him be left with nothing. Especially when he's probably going to lose the championship at Fastlane. You want to have him get a big win, I should say, at WrestleMania, and have him go from there. So it would be a waste if they didn't do anything. Bayley winning the WWE Women's Championship. Look, I'm not a fan of this. I feel like she's going to lose it at Fastlane. Charlotte will win it back and become the 15th time world champion. Charlotte, I swear to God, 3 years she'll have 16 title reigns. She'll beat Ric Flair's. She's gonna go for it. I reckon, honestly, WWE would probably want her to be the Ric Flair of the women's division for real. So I don't know. Look, I just feel like it's stupid. This changing the titles on Raw all the time and then having her win it back on the pay-per-view. For God's sakes, why don't just have Charlotte cheat to win at Fastlane in some bullshit way? And then let Bayley win it at WrestleMania in front of a big crowd, big moment, big celebration, blah, 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 blah. It's great. It's amazing. I just don't understand why we do this on Raw when it's out of the blue. Pops a rating, maybe. I don't even think it did. I don't think it's going to really help. I think, and I don't really believe Bayley deserves to have the championship. I think Charlotte has been head and shoulders way better than Bayley. And the way they've been building her up the last couple months, I don't think has done her any favors to warrant, that title in storyline. So I think it was just, I don't know why they just feel like they needed to, let everyone have a title reign, just let everyone have a shot, let everyone have a run, and then Charlotte's going to win it back straight away. I mean, I just feel like this is a whole waste of time, and I'm not a fan. I don't like Bayley. I'm not a fan of Bayley, so maybe that's why I'm not real happy about it. But I just don't care. I just feel like if you're going to do a big title change, you save it for the big WrestleMania, especially when it's only 6 weeks away. Surely they can wait 6 weeks before they do this. Instead, now she's probably going to lose it at Fastlane because they need to preserve this undefeated record. And this is the thing. You have Charlotte win at Fastlane, still the champion, never lost it. And then you go to WrestleMania, you have Bayley beat Charlotte, and not only does she beat her, she defeats her for the title and ends the undefeated pay-per-view win streak record. And that way, you lose the record on a big pay-per-view, and then you can also now have Charlotte actually lose on pay-per-view, so it doesn't really mean anything anymore. But, you end on a big pay-per-view, you give her the big moment, and, she gets put over big time on the grandest stage when it matters the most, because people aren't going to care about what happens on Fastlane. People care more about what happens at WrestleMania. So, I think people will be looking for that big moment at WrestleMania. My thoughts. Move on to Smackdown. Looks as though Baron Corbin and Dean Ambrose are going to feud probably for the Intercontinental Championship. I think I'm okay with this. I like their interaction at Elimination Chamber. I didn't see their Smackdown interaction because I missed a lot of the show. But, for what I know, they just had a brawl on the stage. I mean, I'm not against it. Baron Corbin, I'm not a big fan of. I think he's dull. I think he's boring. And, his character is just, he's terrible on the mic. But, they're pushing him, and it's okay. I'm not that completely against him. Dean Ambrose, I haven't been that hot on either. I think he's been a little stale. But I think this is an opponent for Dean that I think I'm genuinely interested in, because I would rather cheer Dean Ambrose than Baron Corbin. So I guess I'm going to, get behind Ambrose more in this feud. And I definitely liked what they did at Elimination Chamber. And when I watched Elimination Chamber, I genuinely wanted Dean Ambrose to get some revenge after after the attack. So that's a good start. So I'm okay with this. So it looks as though Randy Orton's not going to verse Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania, apparently, and now we're going to have a battle royal to determine who's going to be the one to face Bray Wyatt at WrestleMania. I think we're all kind of guessing at the moment that it's probably going to be Luke Harper to win the battle royal, maybe setting up a triple threat at WrestleMania, and Randy Orton goes into the match to try and help Bray Wyatt win. Who would actually win that? I would say probably Randy or Bray. I don't think Harper is WWE champion. Nah. Harper I see as an upper mid-card guy, on a lower tier upper mid-card guy. He's not even quite there yet. That Randy Orton match he had at Elimination Chamber was fantastic, and I think it was a coming out moment for Luke Harper, and it could be the start of something great for him, but definitely needs a little bit more work in terms of getting some more wins and building him, because he's just not quite there yet. And he just needs those wins, needs more momentum. And apparently Eric Rowan could be back soon, so that might be introduced to the storyline as well. So we'll have to wait and see what happens there. But I think Luke Harper added into this triple threat. You might not see him as well titled material. I don't, but for the storyline, it would make sense. And I like what they're doing in the storyline. I like the Harper, Randy, and Bray interactions. I'm liking it. I'm enjoying it. So I would be all for it. Who else could be in the Battle Royal? I mean, we'll probably see AJ Styles in it, maybe Ambrose, is it Baron Corbin? Those guys are probably in it. I'd say Corbin and Ambrose might eliminate each other. It might come down to AJ Styles and Luke Harper in the final. And I don't know what's going to happen with AJ Styles. I'm still hearing rumors that he's going to verse Shane McMahon for some fucking unknown reason. I don't know why. Why do we need to see that? We don't, but apparently we have to. I mean, it's just... why? But... it's a little shame. It's a bit of a shame that AJ is going to be put in that type of match for WrestleMania and not in the marquee world title match where I think he really deserves to be in. I think he had a great year. I think he's carried SmackDown on his back. When Cena was gone, Styles stepped up and he did a terrific job. And Ambrose helped, yes. Orton was there as well. But Orton Bray, they were kind of in the tag team, not really a focal point of the show, whereas it was really mainly Styles, Ambrose, and The Miz, of all people, stepping up. So I think Yeah, I think AJ Styles deserves some credit, and I think a world title match at WrestleMania would be the way to go, but I just don't see how he's going to be fit into this storyline. I don't think you can fit him into it, so unfortunately he's going to miss out, and I'd say Harper, Randy, and Bray would be my early prediction, and we'll see how the Battle Royal goes, though. A couple of little things before we get into some questions. Brock Lesnar officially retired from MMA this week, calling it quits on his UFC career. I mean, he's serving a suspension anyways. He'd have to wait a year before he'd be able to come back. I think Brock Lesnar had a terrific MMA career. You know, his wins and losses probably won't really represent it all that much, but a massive, massive draw for the UFC, a marquee draw, and kind of helped legitimize wrestling a little bit and not make it seem like a joke. He was a badass, a guy from wrestling, coming to MMA and showing that, hey, wrestlers can fight, some wrestlers can go, and he beat some decent opponents, won the UFC world title. So I think Lesnar helped wrestling quite a lot by his stint in MMA. Whilst it was short, unfortunately he would have had a longer run if illness didn't come his way. But, you know, I'm glad he's still in the wrestling world. I'm glad he's still competing. I don't know how long he's got in wrestling, maybe another year or two before he gives it up. But, you know, it's great to still see him doing something. And, you know, we've been spoiled that we see him. You know, I'd like to see him do more in wrestling, obviously. But, you know, we're probably lucky that we even get him at all. Because he could have just easily retired from everything and not come back to WWE at all. Because he doesn't need it. He's got the money. But now he's definitely got the money now. He's set, you know, so he's a smart man, smart businessman. He's been able to negotiate a terrific deal for himself, and he's, you know, living the life. Teddy Long is in the Hall of Fame, announced that he'll be one of the entrants in the Hall of Fame this year. I definitely think Teddy Long deserves to go in the Hall of Fame. I think you have to remember what he's been able to do. He's had, you know, years and years and years in the business. You know, he's been around for a long time. I think you probably think he's only been the GM and everything like that, but he's been a manager for dozens and dozens of guys for over the last 20 plus years. A terrific story of getting into the business as well. I definitely believe you should check out his shoot interview. I don't really remember it off the top of my head, but I know he had a good story to tell how he got into the business. So I think, look, Teddy Long, he's served a long time. He's done a lot of different things. He'll be best known as his general manager stint. But, I definitely think he deserves it. I think I probably wouldn't have inducted him so soon. But you got to remember, Teddy Long's actually pretty old. I think he's, 60, mid-60s, maybe 70. I forgot how old. Like, didn't realize how old he is because he doesn't look old. But he's actually quite old. So I guess they probably want to put him in right now while he's healthy. And, he probably will have a nice little speech as well and do his little dance or whatever, at Hall of Fame. And also, he's still pretty fresh in people's minds. People still know who he is. And whilst he's not in WWE at the moment, I think that's a nice little nod to him. And people still, like I said, people still know who he is and will react to him when he comes out. Whereas if they had probably waited maybe 5 or so years, people might have started to kind of forget who he was and what he does because people, short-term memory loss apparently. So, yeah, definitely deserves it. And I never really kind of thought of him. Like, I'm thinking of Hall of Famers, I wouldn't have thought of Teddy Long, but now that he's in, does he deserve it? Absolutely. All right, so we have some questions we want to get into before we get out of here. So we're going to start things off on the Facebook side of things. We've got some questions here from Thomas Speller. Do you see Goldberg sticking around after WrestleMania and becoming a part-timer? Well, I don't know. I think it might have to depend on how good his WrestleMania match goes. If he has a good performance, people respond well to him, which I think they will, but I'm not sure how his performance will be if he can have a good match in the ring, and again with Kevin Owens as well. If he can have a good match in the ring and perform well, then I can definitely see it. He's in great physical shape. I think he's really enjoying his time there. And he might, stick around till SummerSlam. I don't think he's going to stick around as a part-time for the next few years, no. But I definitely think there's a chance he might have a few more matches if things go well. And there's definitely money in it. I think people would like to see him do that. Let's have a look. He's got another question here from Thomas. What's your favorite type of dessert? I'm a simple guy. I like ice cream. I like, I'm not a big fan of cake. Some cakes I do enjoy, but that's really about it. It's just cake and ice cream are the only two that I could like. My favorite type of ice cream is cookies and cream ice cream. That's the best, no doubt about it. But that's really about it. I don't really eat a lot of desserts. When you go to a restaurant and they have all these selections of desserts, probably 80% of them I would never even think about eating. So I'm not a big dessert guy. Cameron Fox, what do you think will main event WrestleMania? I think at this point, if the Universal title will be involved as well, I think it'll be Goldberg and Brock Lesnar. That's the big marquee match. That'll be the match on all the posters. So, yeah, I could definitely see that one. O'Shea Bryant, do you see Brock Lesnar finally beating Goldberg at WrestleMania? Well, I think you have to. If you want to have Brock legitimized as the man, he needs to get that win back. You can't have him get bitched out 3 times by Goldberg, so he definitely needs to get the win. I would have him beat up Goldberg, beat him badly, destroy him, and get his momentum going again. This one's from Ike Cole Columbus. Who is your favorite new era superstar? Well, new era. I guess new era is like the last few years, I'm guessing you're saying. That's a good question. I mean, I don't know. I don't really have a particular favorite superstar. My favorite wrestler right now is Bobby Roode and probably Nakamura, and they're both in NXT. So on the main roster, I don't really have a go-to. I really enjoy AJ Styles at the moment, but he's not a new era guy, is he? He's from, he was in WCW. So maybe Seth Rollins. I like Seth Rollins. I like, I was a big fan of Dean Ambrose, but I've kind of fallen off on him lately. So I might say Seth Rollins might be my guy at the moment. Yeah, we'll go with Rollins. Luke Norris, Goldberg versus Lesnar for the title or not? Does it need it? No, it doesn't need it. No, it does not need the championship. It's already a big enough match as it is. I think Owens and Jericho with the championship would have been better, but I guess they'd have to put the US title on the line as well, make it a double championship matchup between Owens and Jericho, which I'd be fine with. Give Owens everything that Jericho has and just completely destroy him and take everything from him. So, I'd definitely be okay with that. And look, I don't want to see Lesnar or Goldberg as champion, to be honest, because how many times am I going to see them compete? If Lesnar wins it, which we probably would assume he'll beat Goldberg at WrestleMania, so Lesnar would win the championship, when's the next time he's going to defend it? SummerSlam? Survivor Series? Think about it. They've used all of his dates. They're using them all. All these available dates, they're cramming them all in for the upcoming WrestleMania pay-per-view. And by the way, I thought he was meant to appear on every single Raw. I'm pretty sure the last 2 weeks he hasn't appeared, or did he appear after the show? Because if so, that's an absolute waste. But they're cramming in his appearances. They're trying to get them all done now for WrestleMania. Now, does those appearances reset for the new year? I think it does. But I guess, do they want to waste them all between now and SummerSlam as a champ? I mean, it's possible. Give him a big win over Goldberg, and people want to see him back in the ring again. Sure, but do you want to have Lesnar lose the championship anytime soon? No, because you want to keep him strong. You don't want to have him lose the belt, and don't want him losing any matches. So I just feel like it's a no-win situation. Goldberg, you could have him win the title, but then he'd have to beat Lesnar at WrestleMania as well, and that's a no-win situation for Lesnar. He's been destroyed by Goldberg. It would be embarrassing. How does Lesnar come back from that? They'd never end up getting his revenge, so it just wouldn't work. So, yeah, I think I would keep the title away from those guys. Absolutely. This one comes from Mathwiz97X. Shout out to Mathwiz. Out of curiosity, have you considered turning that TEW playthrough that I've been playing, I'll talk about that in a second, into a video series, or is that meant to be part of your downtime from YouTube? I just feel like TEW is difficult to make exciting as a video series, and I feel like a lot of people might not really get it. And now I've kind of played so much of my playthrough that for me to start it now would be ludicrous. I've already played so much of it, and I'd have to start fresh, and I don't really want to start fresh at the moment. But I've definitely thought about doing a TEW playthrough, and for those of you who don't know what TEW is, it's Total Extreme Wrestling 16, and I did a WCW playthrough. So basically, it's a wrestling booking game, and I did a playthrough where WCW never closed down, and WCW continues on, and basically it's continuing the Monday Night Wars, which is really fun. And I've really, really enjoyed it because I've been able to sign all the new up-and-coming guys like Bobby Roode, CM Punk, and John Cena, and all these guys coming through. I've been able to get them all to my WCW roster, which has been really, really fun to enjoy. And I've made AJ Styles a major star in 2003 and, things like that. So it's really been really, really cool to play. But I just feel like a video series on it because there's no... It'd just be boring, I think. I just don't know if I could... I mean, I might be able to make it interesting, and I personally, I would enjoy it. I definitely would, but I just don't know if the viewers would enjoy it. It would probably, if you're going to do anything on that game, you probably would have to stream it. Alrighty, so the next question is coming from Christian Ernest. Have you watched Supernatural? There are 11 seasons on Netflix, and season 12 is on there now. I watched like 4 episodes, maybe 5 episodes of Supernatural on season 1, and I hated it. Didn't like it. I don't like sci-fi that much, and I just felt like the show was really bad. I think the CGI was horrible in the first season. I know my friend really, really loves the show, but I just don't like it. I thought they were going to end it after like season 7. I can't believe there's 12 seasons of it. Jesus Christ. I just don't like it. Not a fan of it. Don't want to give it another chance. I tried it, just didn't like it the first time around. This one's from Kaj Malar Faz. Sorry if I butchered it. Who do you think should be coaching in the Performance Center? Look, I have no idea because I'm not qualified to say who and who is not a good coach. Our perception of who's a good coach could be completely different to reality. But I think the coaching team down there is fine. I think A-Train's doing a good job down there. I mean, I thought Billy Gunn would be a terrific coach because he was a good worker. Unfortunately, he's not there anymore. I think Shawn Michaels is down there doing some coaching. So I think the guys who got down there they're doing a good job. So I think I've got no real issues. I'm not in there. I have no idea who's a good coach or not. So it's hard to really kind of say. And we have one last question for this week's show. It's coming from Gaming Smithy. He said, sorry for not asking this on the salary cap video, but will there be a database on earnings and contracts for universe mode so we know when they expire and maybe take some prices to use on our own universe? That's a good question. I'm probably thinking about putting something like that up on my site. I just don't know how to present it just quite yet. I mean, I use all my data on Excel, and I think maybe creating a graph could be decent. There is a database, basically. There's a graph on there that's showing how much each wrestler is earning already on the website, on each roster page, except for NXT. I haven't done that yet. But there isn't they're not showing when those contracts expire. And when the contract expired just at a random time, I just kind of decided when these guys came onto the brand and just kind of worked around that. It's really based off my own show. But the prices, the prices definitely for your own universe are available on the Raw and Smackdown rosters. So just go over to the page on the website, brentplace.com, click on the roster pages and scroll to the bottom, and I'm pretty sure the graph is on there displaying those prices. So if you want to take them for your own, feel free. Just have to remember that they're based on my universe, and some guys in my universe might be perceived to being, the fucking man. Like Kevin Owens, for example, is, one of the best we have. He's worth a lot, as is Finn Balor. Whereas on your universe, he could be just a mid-card guy. So you've got to keep that in mind. I think if you're ever going to make your own salary cap, your own thing like I've done, just do your own prices, I think. Just think about, give yourself a budget. I went with 10 million, and like the best guy in your roster is worth 1 million, and your top guys are 500k plus. Mid-card guys, probably 200 to 350, 400k, and your lower end guys under 200k, and the minimum was 50k for me. So just base it off something like that rather than probably copying mine. But if you want to copy mine, it is on the website. And as for displaying the contracts and database, that's something I'll consider doing in the future, but I'm not sure if I'm going to do that. I just feel like, I think you guys knowing when the contracts expire would be a good thing, but when there's a contract coming up on the show, on a Universe Mode episode, I'm going to tell you guys and display that. On the bottom screen, there's like a rolling text coming on sometimes, and when that happens, normally I display when a contract is expiring. But that was pretty much it. We pretty much covered everything for this week's show. We've done an hour, so I hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition of the LTT Podcast. Hope you guys enjoyed the gaming chat at the beginning. I want to do a little bit more of that down the line, so when things are coming out, have some things to talk about, we'll do some more gaming chat. Another pay-per-view coming up pretty soon, Fastlane, so we'll talk more about that maybe next week. We'll get into some Fastlane predictions. I think next week and then the Sunday after it might be the pay-per-view, so not too far away. We're getting pretty close to WrestleMania time, so lots of exciting things happening. Hope you guys enjoyed this week's edition. If you did, please do leave a like on it. Make sure you follow me on Twitter at Brendan Plays so you stay up to date with everything to do with Brendan Plays. You can also do that by leaving a like on our Facebook page, which of course is Brendan Plays as well. Links in the description of this video. And make sure you give us a rating on iTunes, download our show on Spreaker, give us a love heart, give us a rating on everything, on whichever device you're listening on, or whatever, however you can. Share the love and share the show around to your friends as well. Help spread the word of the podcast. Getting close to 150 episodes, a couple months away, but starting to think about maybe something I could do for 150. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll see you all next Thursday.